Welcome to Guns, Gear, and Guns with Gary Gunderson. I am Gary Gunderson. The ATF has released a letter clarifying the Rule 2021-05F that's been in place since August, so timely. They have said that without a doubt, 80% pistol frames are a firearm, even without any jigs, tools, or instructions. But they also kind of indicate what would be required for future percent completed frames to not be a firearm. This rule reclassified 80% lowers as firearms, which need to go through an FFL transfer in order to purchase, negating the entire point. Or that's what I'm pretty sure it said. Maybe just 80% lowers with jigs needed an FFL, and without jigs it was fine? It was not exactly clear on what was a firearm, and also, importantly, what would not be a firearm, as the vagueness did leave it unclear at what point a block of metal or spool of polymer magically transitioned into a deadly firearm, other than a definition of recognizable and readily convertible, which was mentioned several times but not defined clearly, hence the need for a clarifying letter. They even said in the final rule that went into effect in August that it would be impossible to set regulations that determined what a firearm was with any standard in regards to time it takes to complete, expertise necessary, parts necessary, or minimum percentage of completion, and that each kit would require a case-by-case evaluation. Well, the ATF answered the call of duty to curb gun rights and have gone through a case-by-case evaluation of the most popular pistol 80% kits, Polymer 80, Lone Wolf, and then they lump together similar semi-automatic pistol frames, as they put it. The letter does state flat out, these 80% kits, even without a jig, so just the frame itself, is a firearm. They determined this referencing their own rule and the Gun Control Act. They say that the Polymer 80 kits make it too easy to remove the temporary rails and barrel blocking tab, and that Lone Wolf kits apparently sell slide rails that are glued onto the frame with no fitting required, though I would argue that fitting is required for Polymer 80s, as you need to file it down smooth enough to make sure it fits together well without binding at all. Also, for Lone Wolf, they say that the ease of obtaining the items is part of their analysis. So you have a need for something that is perfectly legal, and so a company makes it easy to procure that item to fill this need, and then the government says, no, this is bad. That's too easy. So if you had to jump through hoops to get it, would it be okay? Or if they limited how many they manufactured a month, making a false scarcity, would it suddenly be okay? Who knows? So this is settled as far as the government is concerned. Polymer 80 frames and Lone Wolf frames are firearms. However, they never come out and say what would be acceptable, but they do sort of hint at it. On several occasions throughout the letter, they mention the front and rear cavities that allow seating of the trigger and sear into these polymer pistols as important points of consideration. So if the companies acted like dentists and filled in these cavities, would that make it suddenly okay? That would certainly be much more difficult to mill out than the barrel blocking tab or the additional side rails, as you'd have to mill away enough material to fit the items, but it would not be very forgiving either, as if you went too far, it would not fit right and wiggle around or lose structural integrity altogether. I do think that making it that involved would be sufficiently complex and also effectively kill whatever 80% frames could evolve into, and would frankly just push 3D printing that much further into the forefront as an alternative, since they can't really stop that. That being said, if you did make this cavity filling change the requirement, how long until someone creates an easily procurable mini mill designed specifically for these pistols? If it's too readily available, would these frames suddenly be firearms too? Probably. I think it's notable that the other large chunk of 80% being sold, that of AR-15 receivers, has still not received any clarification. Maybe there will be a follow-up, but that usually requires an actual milling machine already, so we will have to wait and see where that ends up. Anyways, that's all I have. I just wanted to give a quick update on this clarification to the rule. I am sure many FFLs were already treating any 80% as a firearm per the August effective date, just to be safe, so it may not really change anything, but it's worth mentioning. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video to others to let them know what the ATF is doing to your rights through bureaucratic fiat. Thanks for watching.